Hey everybody, it's Professor Parrish, and we have finally made it. This is week 17, which means we have this week coming up and finals week, and then the spring semester is over. Y'all have done it. We've made it. It has been a whirlwind of a semester, to be sure, and I hope you all are staying safe, but we are almost at the conclusion of spring semester. We have this week, and then next week will be finals week. So, I'm recording this Sunday night. If you've not completed the reading response number 4 or the discussion forum for this week, please make sure that you do so by Sunday night. As for the assignments coming up this weekend, we're going to talk about them for week 17, and I'm going to do a little preface for week 18, but I'm going to do one more lecture video after this one. So, I'm going to wait and talk about the final exam and what else is due during finals week until that video. I am going to try to have it out early Sunday instead of late like I usually do, so that you guys can be able to see that before the week starts. So with that being said, let me minimize myself right over here. Haha. And let's go to assignments and check out week 17. So, scrolling down here, week 17. As you'll notice, the finals week is not open yet. Finals week will not be visible to any of you until next Sunday, which will be on May 10th. So even though it says right here the unit begins May 11th, it is going to be visible starting next Sunday the 10th. So just be wary of that. But let's talk about what's going to be due for this week. So, we have 2 assignments here and a discussion forum. I'm going to save the discussion forum for last. So you have your final reflection and the grammar review number 10. Our last grammar review! Finally, right? So our last grammar review is this week. The last one. I've been really pleased with how great you all have done this semester. I think you all have done really wonderful with it. See on here. Pull it up, get these out of here. Oh no! What's happening? I don't want to zoom out. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Yeah. Get out of here for a second. Okay, we're back. Had a little technical difficulty there. So this is the last grammar review that we have. The last grammar review that we're going to do for the class basically is on page 544 to 552 in our English Skills textbook. It's talking about introductory phrases. And honestly, of all the grammar mistakes that I see in English papers for English 122 in this class, the most common mistake I run across is that students forget to put a comma after an introductory phrase. Now, we know from grammar that we've learned growing up and going through school that your sentence has to have a subject, has to have a verb, and it has to have a predicate. So your subject is what is causing the action, then the verb is the action, and the predicate usually involves what's happening with that action. So sometimes writers will include extra information that is not necessarily a subject, verb, or predicate. It may be an introductory phrase that introduces a time frame, like first we will do this, or second we will do this, or before breakfast we will do this. So it's just to give the audience and the reader extra information. But the introductory phrase isn't necessary to make a complete sentence. So when that happens, you want to include a comma after that phrase to let your audience know that, hey, this stuff I'm starting the sentence with isn't really important, it's just giving extra context. So for example, and this is not number 1, by the way, I'm just making this up on the spot. I could say before, I can do my enabling here. Goodness. I could say before breakfast, I make sure to do a 10-minute meditation. Ha! Be great if I could spell meditation today. Alright. Just so y'all know I'm not a robot, even English teachers can need spell check. So, basically, I have my complete sentence here. I have my subject, which is I have my verb, which is make. And then this phrase here, the rest of this is the predicate. So I make a 10-minute meditation, and then I have my little phrase here too that connects it all together. But that's my sentence. I make sure to do a 10-minute meditation. Complete sentence. I don't need anything else. But I want to give you, the reader, context in showing that I'm doing it before breakfast. I'm giving you a time frame. So this right here, before breakfast, is an introductory phrase. Whenever you have an introductory phrase like that, you have to include a comma after it. So I could do something else other than this. I could say, first, I make sure to do a 10-minute meditation. Oh my gosh. There we go. So, same thing, an introductory phrase. This one's just a word, but still, it does not connect to the rest of the sentence, so I want to make sure that I put a comma there. So, what I want you to do for 1 through 5 on this first part is write down the introductory phrase and place a comma after it. I want to know that you know where that introductory phrase stops, has the comma, and then that will tell us that the rest of the sentence is its own thing. So that's 1 through 5. On activity 3, on page 548, you're just writing down the interrupting phrase. Now, an interrupting phrase occurs in the middle of a sentence, like it's just breaking it up. So I make sure to do, comma, before breakfast, a 10-minute meditation. So instead of putting it at the beginning of the sentence, I have that phrase interrupting the sentence and putting it smack dab in the middle. This is not as popular a writing choice that I think authors make, but it is still something that can vary up your sentences and give your reader a little more variety when they're reading your work. So in this case, I want to know what the interrupting phrase is instead of the introductory one. And then finally, on activity 5, I want you to write down the word in the sentence and place a comma after it before the quotation marks would start in the sentence. So some of you in one of our previous grammar assignments did the right thing. So if you have dialogue, you're like, hey, comma, Susan said, what are you doing? Okay, so you notice what I did here. When I ended that interrupting part, hey, I put my comma before my quotation marks. And I did the same here. I put my comma before my quotation marks. That's what you are supposed to do. Some people in the last grammar assignment did this, and that's not right. It looks awkward for one thing, and plus it makes the comma outside the dialogue, which it's not supposed to be. So I'm just asking you to write down the word in the sentence and place a comma after it before where the quotation marks in the sentence would begin. So your answer may look something like this. Said, comma, what are you doing? All right. And our textbook gives some examples of each part so that you kind of know what you're doing. But that's the last grammar assignment. That's it. That is the last one of the class. So there's that. And then the other assignment besides the discussion forum is the final reflection. So as you probably noticed, we did have a course evaluation that was offered sometime around midterm, but I like to do this final reflection because it's a chance for me to get some feedback from you all, because I am constantly reevaluating my classes, changing them up, switching assignments. I have kept some assignments over the semesters that students react well to. I've had assignments that students did not like that I've replaced with something new. So I'm always curious to get your feedback, and I want you to be honest. I know a lot of students are like, your class was the greatest, or your class was good. That's awesome. Thank you very much for all those kind words. But if there's a part of the class that you think there could be some improvement, by all means, let me know. I will not take it harshly at all. I've had students in the past be like, that assignment did not work, and I've changed it. So I do take your thoughts and considerations very seriously. But if you liked the class and you want to tell me about it, sure, cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed the class. I enjoy teaching you all. But I do want you to be honest too and give me some feedback or any kind of critique that you have of the online format, of how things are handled assignment-wise, what you did like, what you would have changed. If you did like an assignment, definitely let me know, because I have had students in the past tell me what assignments they did like, and I've kept those in because I value your criticism and your views on what you're learning as well. So as far as the assignment goes, just an introductory paragraph, how you felt about the class overall. If you have any frustrations or concerns right now, this is kind of a safe space to talk about those and just put it out there. Sometimes it's nice to have breathing room where you can therapeutically say, this is going on, I just want to put it out there. And of course, stuff is confidential between myself and you. That's a teacher-student confidentiality, of course. And then what your favorite assignment is, any challenges that were overcome, and then what you would change about the class. And then a conclusion where you summarize your overall thoughts about the course and moving forward in college or wherever you're doing after this semester. So by the time you answer all those questions, the reflections usually end up being about a page. They can be longer than that, but that's mainly what I'm looking for. It's just a chance for you to give some last-minute feedback about the class in general, or any frustrations, concerns, questions that you have. So that's the final reflection. Now, the last assignment I want to go over with you all, if you're still watching, is the week 17 discussion forum, and it looks like some people have already posted, which is awesome. So here's what we're doing. The last 3 papers you all have had a chance to revise. This last paper you don't get that opportunity because it's due the week of finals. So what I do every semester is the last paper that we do as a class, we have a chance to peer review. And so what happens is that you post a copy of your paper, and then you will peer review or read and review and comment on 2 of your peers' papers. So it's a chance for you to read what your fellow students are writing about. It's a chance for me to give you direct feedback. So since you don't get a chance to revise this last paper, I get to give you feedback on what you submit, and that serves as kind of a revising draft. And then it's also cool because we get to show off. The argument paper is probably my favorite of the class because there's so much you can do with it, and there's so much creativity and expression of your opinions and research that you can develop and talk about, that I really feel like students have the most fun with this paper. And so I think that they, in turn, have the most fun reviewing this type of paper. So I'm excited for you to get to see your peers' works and give feedback on them. So with that being said, what you need to do is, first of all, click Add Post like you normally would for the discussion forum. Oh, well, let me do an emulated run. Okay, hold on. Okay, go down here. Okay, so I'm going to add post. All right, and I would put paper number 4 draft. Okay, so what you can do in the body of the post is just say, hey everyone, here's my final paper draft. If you have any critiques, questions, or things you like, let me know. And you can tell your friends what the paper is about in the post. You can tell them, like, hey, I'm really concerned about grammar or citations or sources. Can you just double check and make sure everything looks okay? And then what I want you to do, I do not want you, do not, and I'm going to emphasis on do not in bold letters, do not just copy and paste your paper into this post. And I say that because if you do, I will not be able to give you feedback on the formatting. So if you copy and paste your paper into this post like this, it loses all formatting and it will just be words. And that will hurt you when you actually go to turn in the final paper. So what I want you to do instead is down here, you'll see you've got these 2 options. You've got Moxie Manager and From Your Computer. We are going to attach your paper as a file. So I'm going to go to From My Computer. I'm going to choose my file. Let's just say this one. And you'll notice the paper title's there. I'm going to click Add. Click Add. It's very important that you click that Add button. When you see your file here, click Add. Otherwise, it won't add the file to your post. So it's going to bring you back to this page. You will now see that your paper is a link. If you accidentally uploaded the wrong paper, you can click this trash can down here and it will delete the file and you can re-add it. But if this is correct, I'm not going to submit this because I'm in the instructor mode. But once I get these boxes out of the way, I'll show you a preview of what it looks like. All right, So then what your post will look like is it will have your text and then it'll have an attached file. So once I click that attached file, it's going to open it up on my computer, and that will allow you to edit it, to write feedback, to add comments, whatever you need to do. So that's all you have to do. It's actually really easy to upload and attach a file to your discussion post. It's not hard at all. But that's what we're going to be doing. So essentially you have 3 assignments for week 17. You have the last grammar review that we're ever doing in this class. You have your final reflection, which is a chance for you to critique the course, tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. And then we have our discussion forum where you're going to attach your final paper draft, and then I'm going to look at everyone's drafts and give you feedback this week. And you will look at 2 of your classmates' papers. Now, I will go ahead and say this. It's very important. This class is an open space. We are all people from different backgrounds, political, religious, personal beliefs. I've read many papers over the years that express views that I don't agree with, but the papers followed the guidelines and were college appropriate. So I grade them based on that. I ask you, please, as fellow classmates in English 109, please be respectful of your fellow peers' views and beliefs in those papers. It does not happen often, but I have had some students in the past that have been rude and not respectful. The good thing is you only have to review 2 papers. So if one of your classmates is writing about something that you don't agree with and you don't want to respond to them, you don't have to. You can pick someone else's paper to review, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to give everyone's paper a review, so all of you will at least get feedback from me, but hopefully at least one person reads your paper and gives you feedback as well. But please be respectful, have an open mind, and just give comments that are constructive but positive. So don't just say, "You did awesome!" Perfect paper. Because we all know as writers in any college class, a perfect paper rarely happens. I'm in a graduate class right now. They don't happen. So, that being said, give them constructive criticism. You can say, hey, I love your introduction. I love all of the research that you've put into this. I did notice there were some grammar errors. Maybe make sure with your introductory phrases to put commas there. Or if you notice in somebody's paper, you're like, hey, the flow of your introduction, it's fine, but it just seems a little stiff. Maybe there needs to be a couple sentences there linking your introduction to your first paragraph. Comments like that are going to be helpful. If you use constructive criticism, it's going to be the best thing as a writer to hear. I would rather someone say, hey, can you go back and tweak the 3rd sentence of paragraph 5 and make sure that that kind of lines up with your thesis? I would rather have someone tell me that than to say, it was awesome, and then my instructor be like, you should have tweaked that 3rd sentence in paragraph 5. So, with that being said, I have looked at your topics for this last paper. They are really cool. There's actually some topics I've never read about, which is, I've taught this class for 7 years, and I'm always surprised that students come up with topics I've never heard of. So, I'm excited. And even topics that I have had papers on before, I am still really excited because you all are coming at them from a very unique and refreshing angle. So that's awesome. So with that being said, I am excited to see your drafts this week. Please feel free to post early. As far as the draft length, try to get at least 2 pages in. My rule of thumb as an instructor that I tell students is to always aim to get the full paper done so that you can get the most feedback possible. But if you get at least 2 pages in, that should be all right. But if you submit your paper early, I will review it early. If you submit it by Friday, then I'll review it over the weekend. So with that being said, if you all have any questions at all, I know we have this week and next week left, please let me know. But otherwise, this is week 17. Next weekend, my last video that'll be next Sunday, will go over finals week and we'll talk about it then. All right? I look forward to reading your work, everybody. If you have any questions, just let me know. Stay safe and have a great week.